Good afternoon. We're glad you've joined us again for our Mission One focus, and I'm privileged today to have the world-renowned Vicki Smith, who's Women's Ministry Director here for General Baptist Ministries. But we want to go back a few years. I shared with you before about my first mission trip was in 2007 because my daughter wanted to go and my wife went. When we went, a couple that we worked with there was a young couple by the name of Sid and Vicki Smith. So, Vicki, if you would, just to start with, tell us how you and Sid's involvement in mission teams, how that has impacted your life and kind of set the stage for the next chapter in your life.
Well, I had just retired from teaching 30 years, and we had kind of had a desire to go on a mission team. And so Sid came home one day and he said, I think this is something we really need to do. So we decided to go on a trip. Our youngest daughter, Tiffany, at the time was about 14, 15. And so as a family of three, we have two older children, but as a family of three, we went on our mission trip. We decided that Faith Home was where we really felt like we'd like to visit, and had a wonderful experience. If you've never had an opportunity to be part of a mission team, I strongly encourage you to do that, because it's literally life-changing. And while we were there that week, God really began to deal with us. As I said, we just both finished a teaching career of 30 years, and we were blessed in that we had retired fairly young as far as retirement.
You were 39
standards.
when you retired,
I
right?
was.
Yes,
I was
okay.
just a baby. But so we just decided it was just a strange feeling. And so we came home and began to pray about it. And I guess, as they say, the rest of it became history, because God did call us to the mission field. One of the
and you
really,
served in Honduras.
We served in Honduras, yes. We went to Faith Home. And it's just all part of God's plan and the way He works things out. But our youngest daughter, Tiffany, there was quite a bit of age difference between our two older children and her, and she was still in high school. And we were proud of her in that she said that if we did get called and we decided we wanted to go to Honduras, that she would go.
Wow.
But she said, I understand your calling, but if I have to be honest, I just really would prefer to be able to finish my high school years. So we met with Jack Eberhardt, who was at the time International Missions Director, and I've always been indebted to Jack for the way he handled talking to our daughter Tiffany and the way he worked through it with us. And he said, you know what? He said, let's consider, he said, doing a couple short-term mission summers. And he said that way Tiffany will be able to finish her schooling, and then once she graduates from high school, you guys will be ready to go. So we did that. We went 2 summers consecutively. We stayed for 8 weeks each time. One of the summers, Tiffany came and spent part of the time with her. The other time she stayed with our oldest daughter, Hope, in St. Louis. And we've looked back on that, and that was probably one of the most beneficial things that we ever did, because the cultural shock, the things that we dealt with, we got a good feel for the ministry. We got a good feel, again, for the way the Holy Spirit was directing us and what He wanted us to do. So that's kind of how we ended up on the mission field.
And we've shared before, we have, I guess, a tier approach, if you will. They first went on a mission trip, and then the next step was short-term assignment. And we've done recently the same thing with Brent Lees and Robin Lowry, so that, because I think going for 1 week is different than going for a summer even, and then going on the field. Mm-hmm. And so once you said arrived there, and you were there how many years?
4.
4 years. What benefit did mission teams bring to you guys as missionaries?
As missionaries, the biggest benefit is, and it was for us as well, prior to going to Honduras, we had read about Honduras. We had seen pictures of Honduras. We had heard the missionaries speak when they would come to Summit. But there's nothing like actually being on the field and touching it, experiencing it at Faith Home, attending worship services with the kids at Faith Home, and being in the churches in Honduras, which part of our ministry did involve that as well. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits for mission teams, because they can actually be there and experience what goes on in the field. It was a main way for us to gain support, because you can tell someone, well, I need money for Bibles, and I'll just give you that example. But actually being in a VBS setting where you look at kids and you're ministering to them and you realize they need Bibles, and
Right.
it takes on a whole different meaning.
Right.
So for us, I don't know that we could have survived on the field
Wow.
without mission teams. The other thing was the personal impact, because you're in a culture totally different than your own, and while you go to worship services, we knew Spanish, but not enough Spanish that we could say 100% we knew what the pastor was saying, we knew what the
Right.
songs were
Right.
saying, and you felt the spirit, but it was nothing like having mission teams in and be able to worship with
Right.
them. To just see people from home, that
Yes.
was a huge benefit. And so I hope that mission teams that came there when we've never had a chance to obviously tell all of them, but they'll never know how much
Right.
they meant to us when we were there.
Right.
And we have friendships that we made with mission team members, and they're lifelong friends.
Right.
We still have contact with
So
them.
let me change it a little bit, because
Okay.
mission teams are critical for the field to be
Yes.
exposed to support missionaries, sponsorships, whether it's Honduras or
Mhm.
Philippines or wherever. If you could give one bit of advice to teams, something that a team needs to be aware of before they go to an international field, what would that advice or suggestion be?
I think that probably the main piece of advice that I would have to give, I guess it's twofold. First of all, devote some time to spiritually preparing
Yes.
yourself to go.
Yes.
When you go on a mission trip, you're coming hopefully bringing a servant's heart. And I'm a pretty transparent person, so I usually say, I hate to say I say what I think, but I say what I feel. But as you go to a mission field, on a team, be respectful of the fact that there are people that are there 24/7.
Right.
And so sometimes when a team goes somewhere, we're always going to see things that we think could be done to make something better. And sometimes that's a little disheartening when a team comes
Sure.
in and you feel like they're looking at your ministry and going, I don't know why you think you're doing
Right.
that. Understand that our missionaries live there.
Right.
They live in the culture. They know
Right.
what's acceptable.
Right.
They know what's not acceptable. And so I think respect for another culture, respect for going into a new environment, respect for our missionaries. And over the years, we were nothing but blessed by mission
Yeah.
teams. There were not
Right.
experiences that we just thought, man,
Right.
we can't wait till they get on the
Right.
plane and get out of here. So I think just preparing yourself as a
That's
team.
good. Because, and like we've talked about before, I think if you're going on a mission trip to check it off a bucket list,
Mhm.
don't go. Send
No.
the money instead. But if you want to be impacted, then you're going to be that. And so, after coming back from the mission field, became more actively involved with women's
Mhm.
ministry once again. And has it been 2 years?
2 years.
2 years. You're currently, what role do you have
I'm executive director. I use that term loosely.
for the denomination?
For the
or-
denomination. The whole world.
No. The women's ministry director. And so, women's ministry, how does women's ministry and international ministries work together, whether it's teams or other needs?
We partner with international missions. We look at it totally as a partnership.
Yes.
Now, Women's Ministries is a support organization, an auxiliary organization. It was founded on supporting missions and missionaries. So we try to, any way that we can, support. That's through prayer. That's through personal contact with the missionaries. The main venue that we use is money. I'll be honest with you, because ministry takes money. We were told that when we went on the field. So we just try to raise money
Okay.
for funds in any way that we can. I try
Also,
to
teams?
Teams,
Yes.
yes. We
Women.
take women's teams with everything that's been going on in the last 6 months. You know what's happened to that. But the last 2 years, I've been very privileged to be able to attend the women's conference in Honduras. And I was able to speak both years, and that's a huge blessing.
Yes.
The women's ministries raised money to be able to fund that conference. We were supposed to go to Mexico,
Yes.
and had to cancel that because of the coronavirus. But my goal is to be able to go in Honduras next year, Mexico, and then I've been encouraged by the International Missions Director to go to Jamaica.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's a very organized women's movement in Jamaica, and to my knowledge, I don't think anyone from Women's Ministries has ever attended.
That's right.
So we try to do whatever we can to support.
And he won't mind me sharing, Mark Powell, International Ministries Director, when he and his wife, Kim, and their daughter served in Philippines as well as Honduras, he said had it not been for women's ministry in the groups, he doesn't know how they would have made it. And so any ladies that are watching this, you need to be involved. You can contact Vicki. Your email is what?
Vicki.smith@generalbaptist.com.
And I think you have an administrative assistant they can also contact.
Which is chris.pratt@generalbaptist.com.
And then if you would like to find more information out about teams, short-term assignments, because I do believe that obviously people can go to mission field as career missionaries having not gone through a team and short-term, but boy, whenever you can take those steps and be prepared for it, I think God will bless you. So we invite you to contact us.
And also to flip it, which I didn't mention this, he was talking about women's ministries. The support that we received as missionaries from women's ministries was overwhelming. There was never a birthday, an anniversary, a holiday that we didn't get a card or multiple cards from women in our groups. We'd get care packages, we would get notes of encouragement, as well as the financial support. So all of that is really a big deal. Absolutely. It means a lot when you're on the field.
So there's some different ways you can come on board. We will have teams again.
Yes, we will.
We're trusting next year, and so you can contact me at jim.pratt@generalbaptist.com. If you would like to do an internship or a short-term assignment, let me know, or contact Vicki or Chris. If you would like to become more involved in a greater way through women's ministry. But thank you for joining us.